Hello, let us start with a new reading. In this reading, we are going to discuss what you need to hear right now. So, this is your first pile, and this is your second pile. Accordingly, we are going to discuss it. You can select it based upon your intuition. Okay, let us start with the first pile. Okay, so as per this pile, I can see that there is a lot of toxicity that you are managing right now. This card is representing that toxicity. This toxicity can be in terms of, I can see that this is in terms of your career, maybe. In your career, you are handling, and as well as in your personal life, you are handling with people who are very toxic, and you are not feeling emotionally satisfied, you are feeling emotionally drained right now. But I can see that there is a card of justice that is being displayed to me, which is showing that this situation is going to change. Nothing is permanent, no situation is permanent, so you don't have to give up on the situation. Instead, you have to think positively right now. You have to see the things that you have right now, the potential that you have right now, the people somewhere, you have good people that are supporting you, and your intuition will help you to get rid of the people and the opportunities that are draining you emotionally. Sometimes we are running after relationships, we are running after improving our current relationships. It can be also not in terms of love. I'm talking about general relationships, family relationships. So we are sometimes running after relationships, we are sometimes running after correcting our mistakes, and we have a fear of losing the people we love. Okay, because we don't want to lose them, that is why we don't argue, we don't take stand for ourselves, and things start getting worst because we are unable to express ourselves, we are unable to express our true selves, and in the process of this we end up losing ourselves. We feel emotionally drained, we feel somewhere betrayed. Okay, so these things are going on with you, but I want to just the thing that you want to hear right now is you have potential, you have intuition that is guiding you on the right path. I would want to suggest you that you don't have to um, emotionally drain yourself each and every time you are meeting someone. You can't resist meeting someone if someone else wants to meet you. You can't break your relationship. Sometimes relationships are so important in our life, but we can be emotionally detached from the people whom we are meeting. If we are know if we have that knowledge that this person is not right for me, this person is not sending good vibes to me, then we have that power to reject the feeling that they are transferring to us. Okay, we can reject the attachment with those people. If we are not feeling attached with them, who the people who are not good for us, but still we are dealing with them, then they will be frustrated because their main aim is to just make us feel bad about ourselves, make us feel bad about our lives. The main reason why these people always be around us and always try to be in our touch is just they just want to see us feeling bad about our situation, feeling worst about ourselves. They want to see the insecurities that they have. They just want to project those insecurities onto us, and they want to make us feel heartbroken and betrayed, and they just want to see us losing in our life. That is what they want. They want to see us depressed, getting depressed, crying, or getting tensed or worried about situations that are happening in our lives. So the main thing that we have, the only situation that we can control, the only thing that we can control is our mental peace. The people are who are ours, who meant to be in our lives, will be there in our lives. They will never go away. Even in the worst situation, they are going to be with us. They'll not care if we are financially independent or emotionally stable or not. They are going to hold our hand in our worst times. But the people who are not for us, they are going to leave us without any reason. Okay, or either they are going to be with us and then also they will be again and again criticizing us because of the things that we lack. They just want to make us feel they just want to make us feel a lack of the things that we don't have in our lives. And this feeling, so they sometimes want to make you feel lack. And the only advice that I can give right now is just to focus on your energy for your self improvement. And try to practice detachment. Don't get too much attached to the people who are not good for you. And always try to focus your attention towards completing a particular task. If you are meeting a person who is not good for you and you are having dinner with those people, just have dinner with them and just don't feel any kind of emotional attachment with them at that particular period of time. Think about it like a professional meeting, that we are going there for just eating, for the purpose of eating. Talk to them, but don't reveal first of all uh, your things, your secrets in front of them, because you can't trust them. Okay, don't trust them, and don't have a soft corner with them. Any kind of soft corner you should not be having for the people who are not good for you. Okay, and always follow your intuition. If people those people who are good for you are always going to remain with you, and the people who are not good for you, God is going to eliminate them through from your life. Okay, it can be even instant elimination or after a particular period of time. Okay, so ultimately you are going to, at the end of the day, you will get the signals from universe whether that person is good for you or not. Let time show their true colors. Till then you can create your boundaries and you can follow detachment. Okay, so this was your reading. I hope you liked it. Now let us move to the next reading. Okay, so as per this reading, I can see that there is some kind of heartbreak that you are suffering from, or maybe you have a low self esteem. This is the main issue I can see. You are not having so much love for yourself, you are not practicing self love. But I can say that once you are going to trust yourself, once you are going to trust your intuition, the only person who will be standing with yourself in your tough times will be you only. Okay, sometimes God try to make us away or take us away from the person we love the most, just to make us understand that we have to ultimately leave each and everything when we'll be going back to God. Okay, so this is a time of increasing your trust in spirituality. God wants you to practice self love. God wants you to uh, practice some kind of meditation that will help you to get rid of any kind of past wounds, or base or any kind of things that you have suffered in terms of your family matters or relationships, or even in your career life. Because I can see a lot of politics going on in your personal life as well as in your professional life, and this can be draining for each and every one of us. The only thing that you can, the only thing that is in your hand is your present. You can have full control of the way you are reacting to the situations. Ups and downs are going to come, people are going to come into your life, and in the next point of time when you are meeting them, maybe they can even become strangers. Okay, when you are meeting for the next time. So what matters is how you are reacting to situations. You know who is temporary, you know who is permanent in your life. The people who are permanent in your life, whom you trust, you should take out some time so that you can feel mentally peaceful. When you are going to spend good memories with them, you are going to feel that security, the level of security that you may be uh, not able to find in outside world. You can spend time with your siblings or your parents. Okay, and the love that you are going to give to others will ultimately come back to you in some form or another. You have to remember this. Okay, if people are not doing good to you, it's okay. It is their way of responding to your love, and each and every one in this world cannot handle your love. Okay, so the only thing that matters is your self love, your self esteem. So never uh, show your emotions, or never deal when never accept any kind of thing that is uh, e- above your self love. If people are mistreating you, don't accept that mistreatment. You can also raise your voice, you can also take stand for yourself, you can in your boundaries answer the people, and you can show them that they, yes, they are doing things that are not wrong, that are not right, and they are uh, these things are harming you in some way or another. Okay, you can let people know, and you will be victorious. You have to just believe in yourself. You have to uh, work on your communication skills. If you are going to work on your communication skills, things are going to get better, because you can answer people. You can the people who are not good for you are going to criticize you, and that the response to that criticism, it is in your hand. You can easily respond to that criticism. You can give a positive response to any kind of negative criticism, and it really depends upon how you are dealing with people. And you can deal with people politely while creating and setting boundaries that you are not crossing and you are not letting the other person cross. Okay, and slowly and gradually things are going to turn out into your favor. You should not, the ultimate message that I'm getting here is, you should not expect too much from everyone. Those who are your people, they are going to do things for you without even asking for it. And just try to feel more gratitude for the people and for the things, whether monetary, non-monetary, or the people that you have in your life. Feel blessed and grateful for that. And the things that are not, that you are not getting in your life, feel thankful for that also, because those things might not always be good for you, and God knows them better than you. God's plans are the best plans. They God just knows which thing is good for you, which person is good for you, and which thing is not good for you, which person is not good for you. Okay, you have to just focus on yourself. You have to practice meditation, yoga, and all the things that give you peace. Okay, you can spend time with any pet. If you have a pet, you can spend time with that pet, or you can spend time with your near and dear ones. Spending time with your near and dear ones will give you positive perspective. You can even discuss and share your problems with your well wishers. Well wishers are going to help you, and don't look back on the things that you have lost in your life. You only have present in your hand. Focus on improving your present situation. Okay, so that was your reading. I hope you liked it. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.